Welcome everyone to Rate Your Pain 1 to 10. Today's topic is one that I'm not really known to lead by example with. We're going to be talking about nutrition, our diet and eating habits, and how it affects our CRPS and chronic pain. Some of you may know that I went to culinary school. I did take a class on nutrition and I didn't do too well on it, to be honest. It was a required course, but it wasn't a required lifestyle. So I'm sure you can imagine how I did. Now, it was my first semester back after my accident, which I believe was my only semester back because I just couldn't really do it anymore. And it was roughly about 7 to 8 months maybe after my accident. So I was still on crutches and I was on a lot of meds that were messing with me. So add that all up with a class that was on a topic I wasn't too interested in. Yeah, I think I got like a D, to be honest with you guys. So I didn't do too well on it. I wish I had paid more attention and did a little better on it because it probably would be helping me more today to help manage my RSD, because I have learned a lot with the research I've been doing on nutrition here. And basically what I've learned is the best thing we could do is be on an anti-inflammatory diet. It's something that a lot of us deal with, is inflammation. And if we could bring that inflammation down, it could really help our CRPS and chronic pain in general. I don't believe this is just limited to CRPS. I believe this information is good for anyone with chronic pain, especially those who their chronic pain is caused by inflammation or deals with a lot of inflammation. So I got some good info for you guys coming up here. Make sure you watch the whole episode, because at the end, I'm going to give you guys a little secret, if you will, basically a good tip for how you can find out what foods you're eating that are actually increasing your pain and what foods you eat that are safe. So don't scrub through all the way to the end just to see that little tip. Watch the whole thing here, and I got some great info. So I found some info on a website, and I'll be giving you guys all the links to all this info here that I'll be giving you today. But I'm going to read a list of some of the benefits of having an anti-inflammatory diet. It prevents further nerve damage, helps heal current nerve damage, it increases circulation, improves sleep, increases energy, decreases pain perception, improves mood, increases joint mobility, and strengthens your immune system. Something cool I learned is called the 4 F's and the 5 C's. It's a very simple system for us to know what is good to eat and not to eat on a broad system. It's not very detailed or going to give you direct answers, but it's a kind of like a general rule of thumb. It was written in a book titled Chronic Pain, Reflex Sympathetic Dystrophy, Prevention and Management. And it was written by Dr. Hushang Hushmand. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. He was the professor of neurology at the Medical College of Virginia, and that was written in 1993, I believe. So let's go over those, starting with the 4 F's. The 4 F's. The first one on the list is fresh fruit. Now, we're talking fresh fruit, not canned, not frozen fresh, but real fresh fruit. So obviously it's best to get what's in season and what's local. If you have to, you can get imported, but just as long as it's fresh fruit, that's really what's important here on this list. The next one is fresh vegetables. So again, we want fresh, not canned vegetables, not frozen vegetables. I am sure some of you have probably heard of the seasonal eating. I don't know the actual name of the diet, but there's a certain diet where people believe that it's best to eat only what's in season and, eat locally. So I think it's a great idea and a great way to live by, and it makes a lot of sense. Eating what's in season is how used to be before we had factories and greenhouses and shipped all around the world. We ate what we could, and what we could dry we stored for the winter or the off season. So again, the key here is just to eat fresh vegetables. All right, so the next one on the list here is fish. And this is meant to be prepared baked or broiled is the best method for cooking here. Use fresh lemon for flavor. If you have to, use a little bit of olive oil, but don't drench it in. Try not to put too much fat if you can. Fat is one of the things that's really not good for us. I'll go over that too in a bit. Trying to stick to the 4 F's for now, so I'm trying not to get sidetracked on you guys. So the last one on the list is fowl, which, fowl can be chicken or, birds basically is what it's saying. And again, baked or broiled or roasted, but not fried, not, sauteed in butter or anything like that. And it's best for your fowl to be skinless. Skin has a lot of fat, and that's where you'll find most of the fat, I think, with a lot of birds. Try to stay away from all the fat, stay lean, stay fresh. The 4 F's. The 5 C's. The 5 C's are the ones you want to stay away from. I hope I mentioned that with the 4 F's, that the 4 F's are the ones you want to eat. Those are the healthy choices. Those are the good ones you want to go to. The 5 C's you want to stay away from. So, the 5 C's, we got cookies. Cookies, I think it's an obvious one because sugar. I think sugar is kind of the enemy, and we've been learning that more and more, how bad sugar is for us, especially, sugar that is processed. Pure sugar, I just don't think is good for us to consume. Natural sugar in, fresh fruit, that is okay, obviously, and that's a different type of sugar as well. But I'm not going to get into all that right now. Let's get on with the list here. The next one is cakes. So cakes go right along with cookies. Just, it's sweet, and I think it's a lot of gluten. I don't know too much about the whole gluten allergy. I did the 23andMe DNA test, and it did say that I am at risk for celiac disease, which I found out is a gluten allergy. So I may have it. I don't know. I'm going to try to, work on this diet and all this stuff we're talking about today, and I'll try to keep you guys updated on how it makes me feel and what I notice from it. Anyways, the next one on the list here is chocolate. Oh man, I love chocolate. I'm sorry. I will not give that one up. No way. Maybe I'll eat it less, but this one obviously goes into sugar, of course. I don't know what else might be in chocolate that would be bad. I would think it would be kind of good, at least dark chocolate, because of the antioxidants, right? So I'm on the fence with that one. I don't know. Maybe it's just the sugar content in it. So sorry, chocolate lovers. The next one is cocktails. So obviously alcohol. I guess alcohol can make you bloated, which obviously is inflammation. I personally don't drink, so I don't have to worry about this one, thankfully. Those of you who might have, your cocktails here and there, maybe look into it more and see what it says. See if it's okay to have a couple here and there, or I don't know, what your guys' habits are, and I don't pass judgment, so please don't think I am. I was a bartender, so I definitely don't pass any judgment there. And, you know, I think everything in moderation is okay, but those of us, who have chronic pain or CRPS, we do have to be a little more careful than the average person. So what may be okay in moderation for a normal person, we might have to moderate our moderation. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, I don't know. I think, those of you have your glass of wine or two a night, I don't think it should be a problem, but look into it, I can't provide all the answers, so I'm just trying to provide what I can here. The next one here on the list is candy. So that's an obvious one, I guess. This seems to be all sugar. This whole list is sugar, which cocktails include sugar too, especially if you like mixed cocktails. There's a lot of sweet alcohol that they add in the liqueurs. Like I said, I was a bartender, so I know what goes into a lot of those drinks, and a lot of them are a lot of sugar, which is also partially why you get the hangover. So it just seems like sugar seems to be the recurring theme here. Um, that's unfortunate too, because I do like candy, which is why my teeth are falling apart, I'm sure as well. Um, so I'm gonna work on that, and I'm gonna see how it is. Like I said, I don't know about the chocolate. I'll try to cut back. The candy, I think I could do. I think I can cut that one. Cookies, I don't eat so much. Cake, not so much. Cocktails, no. So I guess I'm kind of okay minus the candy and chocolate. All right, so let's expand on those lists. I'm just going to go over this list with you guys really quick. I'm not going to go into detail for each one, but you could read along with me here. Foods that are allowed. Diet drinks. No caffeine, sugar, and low to no sodium. Skim cheese, apples, all fresh fruits, unsweetened orange juice, natural fresh squeezed orange juice, and grapefruit juice. So remember, it's all natural, no added sugar, just straight fresh juice. Apple juice, again, no added sugar, natural. All fresh vegetables, veal, chicken, and other fowl skinned. Remember, no skin because skin is fat on fowl. Lobster, no butter. That sucks. So lemon only, I guess, guys. Sorry. Lean roast beef in moderation. Raisins. Ugh. I only like raisins in oatmeal cookies, and I think that's probably it. Skim milk, tuna, water packed. So when you buy tuna, I'm not sure if all of you know this. I found out the hard way because I bought the wrong one by accident. Tuna comes packed in either water or oil. And the oil one is, you'll know, it's really oily. So like I said, I found out by accident with that one. All right. Nuts, raw and unsalted. That kind of kills it for me. I'm sorry. I love roasted nuts. Now, why can we have roasted, vegetables or roasted chicken, but we can't have roasted nuts and unsalted? I mean, some nuts I can handle unsalted, but I don't know. I like salt. I guess that's really bad. Okay, on to the next one. Honey, natural. I think all honey is natural. If it's not honey. It's honey flavored corn syrup. Oatmeal, plain and unflavored. But you can add raisins. Low-fat cottage cheese. I like cottage cheese. Low-fat plain yogurt. Flavored has sugar. Add your own fresh fruit. Okay, I like that. I like Greek yogurt. I love Greek yogurt. So add some of your own fresh fruit and a little honey, and boom, you're golden. All right, sweet potatoes with skin. Okay, that's cool. All right, eggs, no more than 2 per week. I eat 2 at a time at least, man. Although I don't eat eggs as much as I used to. My wife, though, she eats a lot more eggs. She eats them like almost every day. Sardines. Huh. I don't know about sardines. I don't mind them, but it's not like, yay, I get to have sardines. All fish, so that's good because I love fish. I love seafood. Probably my favorite type of food is seafood. And I'm not making that joke about I see food and I eat it. No, man, I live by the ocean and I love seafood, okay? I mean, straight out of the water seafood. Cereals, whole grain, low sugar. So maybe like Chex or something like that, but no corn pops, no Cap'n Crunch, none of that stuff. That's all sugar, man. Shrimp, I think shrimp kind of falls into, well, they said fish. They should just say like seafood, right? Because they said lobster, but shrimp. And fruits dried. Okay, so that's cool because I love like dried apricots, man. Oh, those are so good. Crab. Why don't they stick all these together, man? Crab, shrimp, lobster, fish. And drink 8 glasses of water per day, folks. You know, you got to have that water, and that's super important. That's something that I lack on, I know, but I mean, I always got a bottle next to me. So, you know, in fact, now I'm thirsty thinking about it. All right, next list here. Actually, in between the list, let's go with foods that are allowed rarely or sparingly. Okay, the first thing it says is no coffee. May be replaced with iced tea, folks. Yay. I'm sorry. I know you in the South love your iced tea. I love iced tea too. But, I mean, it does not compete with coffee. I am sorry. Okay, so allowed rare. I don't know why they put that with rarely and sparingly because we have a list that is not allowed. Sorry. Anyways, rarely or sparingly, we got lamb. We got pulp of potato. I'm guessing that's potato without the skin. And it says may fry in olive oil. Oh, so you can fry something. Okay. And then it says tea. But so they're saying we can replace our coffee with tea, but sparingly. Man, no way. I can't do that. Sorry. Not gonna do it. I know that, like, okay, look, I don't do much in life anymore, man. And I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, I've had my fun in the past, you know, when I was younger. And, you know, coffee. I can't give up my coffee. No way. You know, like, that keeps me going, especially because I have no energy usually. I have to be drinking that coffee, and I know people say it makes you crash harder when you drink it. Yeah, it's different, man. When you have chronic pain and CRPS, like I'm always tired, so that coffee, I have to have it. You know what I mean? Like I drink at least 3 cups a day, and then I know you all are gonna hate this too, but usually after those 3 cups, I drink a Red Bull. And I'm not talking a little 8 ounce, I'm talking like a 16 ounce. But, you know, my doctors took me off like almost all my pain meds. Well, not all the way, right? They took me off a lot of them and a good percentage. Like I dropped like 65% or something of my pain meds. So that's great, but I don't have as much energy as I used to because of the added pain. So I'm sorry, I drink coffee and maybe it adds to my pain. I don't know. But all right, let's get to the foods to be avoided. We got number 1 here is crystalline sugar. Yeah, we knew that was coming. That obviously was the underlying key of the whole 5 C's, right? All right, so we got soft drinks with sugar. Remember they said diet soda was okay, but soft drinks with sugar, no. Yeah, I also like to drink a lot of cola soda too, so oops. Pies. Oh, man, I love pies. In fact, my wife just we've been getting a bunch of apples from friends and clients, and My wife's been making a bunch of apple turnovers, and man, she is nailing those suckers. They are so good. I can't stop. So, like I said, nutrition, it's not my strong point. um, I love food. So, my weakness. All right, we got bologna. Bologna reminds me of growing up because my dad, he loved bologna, and we only got two types of sandwiches pretty much growing up in my house. It was either peanut butter and jelly or bologna. Sometimes tuna. My dad also ate that deviled ham. You guys ever see that stuff? Deviled ham? It's weird. It's like a reddish, shredded looking stuff. It comes in a can just like tuna and all that, but weird stuff, man. I couldn't do it. All right, we got salami. Salami was a treat in my house if we had it. I loved salami growing up. Hot dogs. Yeah, hot dogs just aren't impressive when you really look at what they're made of. Those kosher dogs, though, oh, I love the kosher dogs. Anyway, sherbet, however you say that, man, that's always been a big debate. And sherbet, I don't know. You guys tell me. How were you raised to say? Let me know in the comments. Enriched white flour, so bleached flour, especially. I don't know. Is unbleached flour, is that enriched too? I don't know. Syrups. So no maple syrup. That sucks. So no pancakes. No waffles. Oh, man. Mayonnaise. I don't do too much mayo anymore. I used to, but it's weird. Like nowadays, all condiments kind of gross me out. I need it just for a little bit of, lubrication on the bread or sandwich I'm eating. But like mustard, I'm not a fan of much anymore unless it's hot dogs. Hot dogs and I guess deli sandwiches. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. All fried foods. They did say, though, you could fry the potato pulp in olive oil. So, I don't know. I think they mean all deep fried food. So let's say that. No deep fried. Canned fruits packed in syrup. Oh, man. I know it says fresh fruit, so I got to stick to that, okay? But I've always been a sucker for those canned peaches. Oh, man, those are so good. Cakes. They said that in the 5 C's. Sweet rolls. I kind of assume that goes along with cakes in a way, even though it's not a cake. Lard. So basically any fat is bad for you. Aside from like olive oil, they say. Don't look at me drinking my coffee. Crisco and other shortenings replaced with olive oil. So Crisco, isn't that pretty much lard, I think? Or just shortening? Yeah, whatever. Potato chips. Such a bummer. But that's also deep fried too. So, man, they're taking away a lot of my favorites. Dips. Well, there could be some good dips out there, right? You make some dip with some Greek yogurt and some chives and, yeah, Cake mixes. That's cake, right? Alcohol. We covered that. Non-dairy cream substitutes is what I'm thinking that means. It says crème on here, but I'm pretty sure it's cream. So non-dairy cream substitutes. So does that mean like the powder? Margarine, again, that's a fat, and it's a processed fat at that, so extra bad. Donuts. Most donuts are deep fried. Well, they don't get deep fried, but they float on top of a fryer, so pretty much deep fried. Oh, here comes the killer, guys. Don't look at this one. Just cover your ears and eyes right now. Bacon. Oh, God. Can't give up the bacon. Bacon and any pork. Ah, pork is my favorite land meat. Any meat you can get aside from seafood. Actually, I don't know. I might like pork better than seafood, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think I do. And I make pulled pork, and it's ridiculous. I've had people tell me it's better than stuff they get in Hawaii. And I make a killer coleslaw with it. And we were actually just out to dinner with some of my friends the other night, and they were just telling me, they're like, you ruined coleslaw for me because every coleslaw out there now just doesn't compare to yours. So, yeah, my pork and coleslaw, man, it's pork shoulder that I slow cook and smoke for like 12 hours. So that's a rough one for me. That one I'm going to put in the moderation section, or the rarely section. So shh, don't tell anyone. And the last one on the list is candies. So again, we talked about that. So we don't need to go over candy again. If you're interested in changing to an anti-inflammatory diet, and if you want to search for a particular diet to follow that's anti-inflammatory, the Mediterranean diet is a pretty good one to follow. It's high in fruits and vegetables, nuts and whole grains. So they eat a lot of fish and healthy oils. So look that up if you want to try switching to a diet and looking up recipes that are going to be anti-inflammatory. The Mediterranean diet is a good way to go. All right, so let's talk about coffee for a minute. This one, it's not one I'm happy to hear about, but apparently it's really not that great for us with CRPS. So let me just read you a little something here. And again, I'll be leaving all the links in the description below for all this info that I found here. So this says here that coffee has an acid-based oil that is an irritant to gastric mucosa. It stimulates the secretion of gastric acidity. Secondarily, the high gastric acidity results in secretion of adrenaline. The secretion of adrenaline stimulates insulin secretion with the resultant secondary relative hypoglycemia. The end result is tension, a mild rise in blood pressure, and 2 to 3 hours later, craving sweets because of the relative hypoglycemia. Obviously, none of the above is helpful in RSD/CRPS. The rise in plasma epinephrine will underdo whatever good medications are doing to counteract the hyperactive dopaminergic system in RSD/CRPS. So, coffee really has a chain reaction effect on us that doesn't do too good, especially with our medications. I don't know. For me to just stop drinking coffee cold turkey, man, I could try it. I don't know how it'll work out. But, it's, maybe I'll slowly wean myself off over like a week or so and see what happens, see how I feel for a week or two. But I don't know if I could do that, guys. Maybe someone else out there can try it. I would love to hear from you guys if any of you have done that. I mean, I don't want to, don't take this the wrong way. I don't want to hear from someone that doesn't drink coffee, because unless you have drank coffee and stopped, I want to know from somebody who has tried both, been drinking coffee for a long time and then stopped, and have you noticed something different? For those who've never drank coffee, it's hard for you to say, like, yes, it does help, if you've never had coffee and don't really know the other side of the fence. So that's just what I mean by that. I don't mean any offense to anyone out there saying I don't want to hear from you. I do. I want to hear from all of you, just, in the right context. All right, so a couple other things we're going to go over here is just a few, just random tips, I guess we could say. Talking about labels, make sure you read labels, especially beware of certain words like carbohydrates. I'm sure, you guys know that carbohydrates basically means sugar, because that's what they turn into. And, especially things like the high corn fructose. And I actually found something recent out. What they have been doing now to avoid having that label that everyone wants to avoid, they just call it what it is, fructose. and they do 100% fructose syrup. So it's no longer high fructose corn syrup. It's just fructose corn syrup. And it's actually even worse. So now, people are being thrown off by labels. I mean, they've always been thrown off by labels. That is something they told us about in culinary school too, and, told us to make sure we read. So also something on labels to avoid is high fat to calorie ratios. Also with labels, of course, always avoid unpronounceable words if you can. Usually those are unnecessary ingredients. They're usually preservatives. Having a lot of preservatives, especially unnatural preservatives, over time can be really bad for us. So try to stay away from processed foods and preservatives. All right, so food preparation. Food preparation, basically we're talking about how do you prepare the food when you make it. And of course, this is leading into what do you cook it with. So most people use butter or oil or both, especially if you're Julia Child. Those are some of the videos I loved watching in culinary school and at home too. But I remember she always had her special little ratio she did of everything she sauteed in a pan or cooked in a pan, in a frying pan, was 2 tablespoons of butter, and then I think a teaspoon of oil, and I believe it was olive oil. And that was just how she cooked everything, just lots of butter. And I'm sure you've seen lots of other chefs out there like Paula Deen and all those that really use a lot of butter for everything. And man, I'm one of those people. I used to be. I love butter. I love butter in everything, It's just hard to change your ways with cooking because we're raised a certain way, and it's hard to break those habits of how we were brought up to eat. And, I was brought up in a big family where my parents didn't have all the money in the world, so they had to do what they could to feed us all, and a lot of that, unfortunately, was, boxed foods and frozen foods, and not like, TV dinners, but you know what I mean? Just like frozen vegetables, things like that. And they had to do the most they could with as little as money as possible. And unfortunately, that's not always the most healthy. It's terrible how expensive it is to eat healthy nowadays. But there are ways around it, That's a different episode. Like I mentioned before, getting back to food preparation. When you cook food, you can replace oil a lot of times with water or nothing at all. Like meat will release itself once it's cooked. When you have meat in a pan and it sticks, usually, if you're cooking it too hot, you're going to burn it and it'll stick, and it might stay that way, yes. But if you cook it at the right temperature, it will release itself from the pan when it's ready. And a lot of people, their problem is they mess with it too much. They want to flip it a million times. They want to push it. They want to do whatever. And that is what pulls the meat from the pan. It sticks and it's all a mess and it goes bad. So you don't always need a fat or even a nonstick pan, believe it or not. There's ways you could do cooking without fat. Roasting in the oven is another way. But anyway, I'm getting a little too deep into that one. Let's move on. Something else that can be good for anti-inflammation are spices. There's actually a juice recipe I have for you guys that you can make that is supposed to really help with your inflammation. I'll give you real quick just what's in it, and I'll put the recipe up in the description. So look down there for it. What goes in it here is 1 medium carrot, 1 teaspoon of ginger, 1 juice from lemon or orange, so a whole lemon or whole orange, your choice, 1 tablespoon of honey, 2 tablespoons of turmeric, and then 2 cups of coconut water. So put all the ingredients together in a high-speed blender and blend until smooth. And then you could strain it if you want to get all the debris out, because there's going to be some of that spice left behind, but all the good stuff out of the spice hopefully will have come out of it. I'm going to have to try that. That sounds kind of interesting. I'm not a fan of coconut water, but you know, I'm a fan of trying new things if it's helpful. All right, are you guys ready for that final tip that I have for you, that special little secret? What we're going to do here, if you want to know what foods affect you and really make your pain worse or help your pain, what we're going to do here is make a journal. So you make a journal every day. You write in it what you eat. So every meal and everything you consume, food and drink, okay? You write it down. Write down what time it is that you eat it. And for this to work, you have to write down everything you consume, okay? Don't leave anything out, even if you think it's small, like just a candy bar, or you know what I mean? Even if it's just an apple, write it down. Okay, and then what you're going to do secondary is you're going to have another journal. You can have it in the same journal. You know, you could split a line down the middle, have one be your food journal, and then the other one right next to it is going to be a pain journal, and you're going to write down your pain level. So you all know the pain scale, you know, rate your pain 1 to 10, right? If you don't know how to rate your pain, check out that video. I'll try to maybe like put a little thing up here in this corner for you guys to just click on it. And that will show you how to rate your pain properly. And so what you do is you mark your pain at the time you eat your food. Mark it down what your pain level is before you eat. And it's even better too. Write it down when you wake up. Before you eat breakfast, write down your level. And then say 30 minutes after you eat, write down your pain level again. After an hour, write it down. You know, however much you want to do it, but make sure you write it down at some point after you eat. You know, within 30 minutes to an hour, write it down so that you know how it makes you feel freshly after. I wouldn't wait more than an hour. And then do that every day for like a good week or so. Do it at least for a week, you know, and just everything you eat, write down what you eat, write down your pain level. And then after a week, you know, start to look at it and, you know, see what foods are consistent with high pain levels. And you'll see, oh, wow, you know, seems every time I eat that pepperoni pizza, my pain level goes up a notch. So you realize, oh, okay, let's cut out that pepperoni pizza and see if, you know, takes it away. You may be making that juice smoothie I told you about, and you realize your pain level drops, you know, a number or two after you drink it. It'll tell you, hey, I better drink that more if I'm in pain. So it can be really helpful. I'm getting ready to start one myself. It sounds very intriguing, and I'm really curious. So maybe I'll share that with you guys. That's kind of personal. What I eat can be kind of embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Like I said, I don't eat the best, so I think this is gonna be a really good thing for me to do. And I'll let you guys know how it goes. And if you guys try it, let me know how it goes, please. I want to know. I want to hear from you guys. I really like interacting with you guys. I love comments. I love emails. So the more I hear from you guys, the better it makes me feel. Honestly, I love it. So let me know what you guys think. As always, make sure to subscribe if you have not yet. And please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. And hit that notification bell, hit all, so you're notified on all my new videos that come out. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.